Welcome to the 6th chapter of the book of Numbers. It's all about vows. We went through vows before in Leviticus chapter 27. If you wanted to go back to that video, you'd find out a lot about vows. It went more into not a generality, specifics really, about what vows were. But here is a vow of purity. It's a certain vow that a person could make. Now, we'll show you here. It's interesting. It says, "And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel," in the imperative, as it is so many times where God is telling Moses to do that when they were at Mount Sinai. "And you shall say to them, Anir, a man or a Guinea, whoever should greatly vow a vow to purify oneself in purity to the Lord." That is the subject. Now, 2171 and 72, a vow and a verb to vow. Evki is the word to vow. You make a vow and you do something to back it up. The word prosevki is the word for prayer, and it appears hundreds of times in the Bible, in the New Testament, Jesus, and so it's interesting how the tie-in, the pros, is a preposition that's a suffix to evki, which gives it a slightly different meaning. But there is a tie to the two. The tie is a relationship of an action that between yourself or man or woman and God, and wanting a certain thing to happen either from God or a certain thing to happen from a person's behavior. Generally, the prosevki is something that you want, asking for God, praying to Him, and the evki, the vow, is more of something that you want for yourself to change something, do something, to hopefully have an outcome that would be godly. So here it says a man or a woman who should. So what is this vow? It's a vow of purity. Two places here, purity. And it says then, from inu, wine, we have vinu, wine, and liquor, he shall be pure. So that is one of the things that you put yourself into, that a vow of purity, that you will not drink you will not have anything from the vine, the grapevine, or strong drink from out of wine, and strong drink from out of liquor. He shall not drink. So no alcoholic beverage of any sort, or anything, it says, and as many things as are manufactured from out of the grape, he shall not drink. And fresh grape and dried grape he shall not eat. So nothing with alcohol and nothing of the grape is the person to have. 6:4, all the days of his vow, from all as many things as come from the grapevine, wine, from dregs unto grape stone, he shall not eat. All the days of the vow of his purification, now here's the second thing, is a razor shall not come upon his head. Now, from what I gathered, they shaved themselves first and then made the vow, and then afterwards they shaved themselves again. Then this is how I'm guessing it was from what I see in the Bible. Now, I'm sure the Mishnah that I have would have all sorts of things that go along with this, and if you wanted to read all about that, might be helpful to understand it more, better than I'm trying to give out. But until whenever the days should be fulfilled, as many as he made a vow to the Lord, he shall be holy, maintaining the lock of hair on his head. Now, if they now I don't. So basically, if they shaved themselves and then then the hair did grow, then that would be the lock of hair, I suppose. In all the days of the vow to the Lord, he shall not enter unto any soul coming to an end, no dead body of a person. Unto father or unto mother, to brother and to sister, he shall not be defiled by them in their dying. For his vow of God is upon him, upon his head. So he's not allowed to do that. All the days of his vow will be holy to the Lord, separating himself to be holy to the Lord. And if anyone should die to death near him suddenly, immediately the head of his vow shall be defiled, and he shall shave his head, in which day he should be cleansed. The seventh day he shall be shaved. And the eighth day he shall bring 2 turtle doves. So the shaving of the head at the end of the vow is part of the procedure. And the eighth day he shall bring 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, to the priests at the doors of the tent of the testimony. Now, later on, we had the temple and so forth of Solomon, then the temple of Herod, and many things about vows. If you go through 27, you'll find out about the vows. There was Jacob vowed to the place that he had his head when he was leaving, fleeing from his brother Esau at Bethel, that he would it would be a holy place. And then Pharaoh 4 times asked Moses to make a vow for him, even though he backed off on all the things that he wanted to vow for. And then Moses vowed at combustion. That was in Numbers 11:2. And we have Jephthah's vow. A lot of these I already went through. And then that prosev ki prayer is both a verb and a noun, and that's 4335, 4336. You can check that out at the lexical concordance of the Apostolic Bible at the end there. See how many places, and that's all prayers. Vowing is not mentioned in the Gospels. It's not until the book of Acts, and basically it begins with Paul, nobody else that I can think of. It says in Acts 18:18, but Paul, yet having remained a fit amount of days, having dismissed the brothers, sailed across into Syria, and with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchreae, for he had a vow. So he couldn't have shorn his head during the vow, because that you couldn't do that. And so he had shorn his head at first, and then let it grow. And then we have this place here. It's interesting. It says, and of our, in 21:17 of Acts, and of our being in Jerusalem, the brothers gladly received us. And the following day, I think that would be Luke and Paul and maybe Timothy. And the following day, Paul enters with us to James, I think the brother of the Lord, and all the elders arrived. And having greeted them, he described according to each one what God did among the nations through his service. And they, having heard, glorified the Lord. And they said to him, you view, O brother, how many myriads of believing Jews there are, in all being zealous of the law? And they instruct concerning you that you teach all the Jews among the nations defection from Moses, saying not to circumcise their children, nor to walk in the customs. What then is it? Assuredly, it is necessary for a multitude to come together, for they shall hear that you have come. This then do what we tell you. There are with us 4 men having a vow upon themselves. Taking these, be purified with them, and spend for them that they may shave the head, and all should know that of which they have been instructed concerning you is nothing, but you conform to keeping uh, the law, even yourself. So that was what happened with Paul. And then in James 5:16, the only place that I see that basically for us it says, acknowledge to one another the transgressions and make a vow for one another so that you should be healed. Now, exactly, it doesn't go into detail what that making a vow is. Certainly, you couldn't make a vow and do it the way they did in the Old Testament because there's no priesthood or temple or anything or sacrifices, because now we'll see what the person needed to do. It says, and the priest shall offer those pigeons, one for a sin offering and one for a whole burnt offering, and the priest shall atone for him, for of which he sinned concerning touching the dead soul. Now that's a person that accidentally was around somebody that died, work, or somebody got hit in the head and died right next to you, and you were, trying to save him and touched him, and then you had the vow, then the vow comes to an end. So this is what you would have to do, is go there with these birds, and sacrifice them. And he shall sanctify his head in that day. Now he, I believe, is probably the priest, and his would be the person that sinned by touching the dead soul, in which he was sanctified to the Lord all the days of the vow. And he shall lead forward a lamb of a year old, then for a trespass offering. And the former days shall not be reckoned, for the head of his vow was defiled. So that would have been touching the dead person. And this is the law of the making a vow, in whichever day he shall have fulfilled the days of his vow, he shall bring himself by the doors of the tent of the testimony, or I imagine the temple, as far as with Paul and these four men. And he shall lead his gift to the Lord. And this is what Paul is purchasing for these four men, one unblemished ewe lamb of a year old. Now, if he had to bring four, maybe, for a whole burnt offering, and one unblemished ewe lamb of a year old for a sin offering, and one unblemished ram for a deliverance offering. So if he had to do that for 4 people, 12 animals, that would cost a lot of money. And a bin of unleavened fine flour breads, being prepared in olive oil, and unleavened pancakes, being anointed in olive oil, and their sacrifice and their libation, the drink. And the priest shall bring them before the Lord, and shall offer the thing for his sin offering and his whole burnt offering. And with the ram he shall make a sacrifice of deliverance offering to the Lord, and with the bin of the unleavened breads. And the priest shall offer his sacrifice offering and his libation. And the one making a vow shall shave the head of his vow. Oh, I need to change that. Should be instead of a bracket, it needs, I'm sorry, this is correct. I was thinking it was this one here. And the one making a vow shall shave the head of his vow. And then it has in parentheses, by the doors of the tent of the testimony, or temple in Paul's case, and shall place the hair upon the fire which is upon the tent of the testimony, the head of his vow. And then, and the one making a vow shall shave the head of his vow, and shall place the hair upon the fire which is upon the sacrifice of the deliverance offering. So there, we can't do that once the temple was destroyed. And the priest shall take the shoulder cooked from the ram, and one unleavened bread from the bin, and one unleavened pancake, and shall place them upon the hands of the one making a vow, after his shaving the head. In this case would be the 4 men. And the priest shall offer them as an increase offering before the Lord. It shall be a holy portion to the priest, beside the breast of the increase offering, and beside the shoulder of the separation portion offering. And after this, the one making a vow shall drink wine. So after that, and he cut his hair. This is the law of the one making a vow. Whoever should make a vow to the Lord of his gift to the Lord concerning the vow, separate from whatever his hand should find according to ability of his vow, of whatever he should have vowed according to the law of his purity. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, Thus you shall bless the sons of Israel, saying to them, now this is a famous quotation of what the Lord says, a beautiful, probably got a name for it. Then I can't remember. We used to say that in the benediction, I believe. It is the benediction. When I was in the Lutheran, grew up in a Lutheran school. I went to a Lutheran grade school all the way through high school, Lutheran high school, and Lutheran University. I'm not of any sect, any denomination any longer, but I just thought I'd bring that up because I remember this, said it so many times. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and show mercy on you. May the Lord lift up his face upon you and give to you peace. That's the beautiful benediction. May the Lord bless you. Boy, we can use all the blessings we can get from God. And keep you, keep us from harm, keep us from the evil one, from the temptations of the flesh, the temptations of the world and the devil. Keep us guarded, be our shield holder, as it says in the book of Psalms. The antileptor is a person that held a shield in front of a warrior. May the Lord shine his face upon you, that is the light of God on our face, that we would reflect to all the people or we meet, and our family first, and our church members, and the brothers and sisters, and to all the people that do not know the Lord, to them, that we would reflect his light upon them and show mercy on you, which we definitely need because we are sinners and we will all fail. May the Lord lift up his face upon you, look upon us, and give to you peace. Look upon you. And having God look upon me is a wonderful thing. Some people in religions don't believe that God is a personal God. They believe that he is some ethereal being, if he isn't a being, as something. Almost all the religions that I know of believe that, feel that way. The Muslims that don't have a relationship to God as we do with Christians, and the Hindus, their gods are more of anthropomorphic animals, sort of, and then the Buddhists. I'm not an expert on the Buddhists, but I think you can become a god by your actions. And then there's the Baha'i religion, which is more or less a religion built up of prophets, which God is way more than a prophet. And so having his face upon me, and that means a personal relationship. It doesn't mean a God that is ethereal, that's out there in the Neverland, and but he has his face looking on you, looking on me. That's a wonderful thing to think about it. When you really think about it, God is actually paying attention to me. This is not all one giant accident, and we're here, and whatever goes, but God has got his face on us, and why? To give to you peace. Wow. And this is in the Old Testament. And peace, Irene, shalom, peace. Irene, the name Irene comes from that. And they shall place my name upon the sons of Israel, and I will bless them. Well, the sons of Israel are still around today. They're in Israel, and may God bless the sons of Israel. Chapter 7, our next video seminar, we see it's going to be about the sanctification and the separation of the tent. And what all that entails, we'll find out. Chapter 7. Hope you'll join us. Until then, God bless.